Movies in short here. Today, we'll discuss a 2021 action thriller movie called Night Teeth. Sit back, relax and enjoy. The movie begins with a female narrator giving a brief description of the existence of vampires, and the truce between them and humankind. There are 3 rules to uphold. Number 1, don't let humans know that vampires exist. Number 2, don't feed on the unwilling, and number 3, never enter Boyle Heights, a neighborhood in Los Angeles, without permission. We cut to Jay, driving with his girlfriend, Maria, when he spots someone in the rear view mirror. The car catches up to them. Jay exchanges glances with Victor, whom he refers to as Dead Man, and speeds off to warn his friends. After pulling up to a warehouse, he tells his girl to go to her brother's as he proceeds to enter. He is shocked to see everyone strung up and killed. He hears a loud scream coming from outside, then rushes back to his car only to find the car door missing and his girl gone. We now follow Benny Perez, who gets woken up by his teacher in class. A girl in the back giggles at Benny. He smiles kindly at her, and her boyfriend gives him the middle finger. He leaves school and collects some music equipment from various people and returns home. He greets his grandmother and goes to his room, which is filled with anime posters and figurines. We learn that he is an aspiring DJ. He hears someone in the next room shouting and goes to investigate. We see Jay, who happens to be Benny's brother, talking on the phone to someone and arguing about not being able to be the driver for tonight. Benny overhears his conversation and offers to drive. Jay scoffs at the idea and tells him that he doesn't have a chauffeur license or even a suit. After some deliberation, Jay ends up giving him the keys to the car and tells him not to leave a scratch on it. He also mentions that he must take the people where they want to go and come straight back. Excited at the prospect, Benny leaves to pick up the clients. As night falls, Benny pulls over outside a large mansion in Beverly Hills. Not long after, Blair comes out. Benny greets her nervously as he introduces himself as her designated driver. She looks at him weirdly and he asks if something is wrong. She casually mentions that his zipper is down. Benny panics and apologizes. Blair notices how inexperienced Benny is. Zoe Moreau comes out next and Benny introduces himself to her. She walks by him saying, "You look adorable." Moreau gives him a list of all the addresses that they need to visit by morning. They ask him to turn on the AC and make it icy. A few moments later, Blair asks Benny what he would do if he knew this was going to be his last night on Earth. Benny says he never really thinks that way, so he has no idea. He says he is a pretty chill guy living with his abuela, grandmother in Spanish. Moreau asks to play a game of marry, fuck and kill. She asks him to choose between them and his grandma. He feels uncomfortable playing the game, but relents and says jokingly he will definitely kill Moreau. They arrive at their first location. The girls put on masquerade masks and leave the car. Benny observes as the girls present a gem which identifies them and gives them clearance to enter. We cut back to Jay, who says after 3 generations he is the one to break the truce. He prepares a bag full of guns and says that by tomorrow morning either Victor will be dead or they will be. We cut back to Benny, who hears a loud scream coming from the house the supposed party is in. He leaves to investigate and stumbles upon the gem he saw earlier. Moreau and Blair come out drunk and tell Benny to get back in the car. They leave for their next destination, the Hotel El Azul. The girls leave again and tell him to stay. As Benny sits and waits for the girls to come back, he hears one of the girls' phones receive a message. He takes a peek and sees it's from Victor, asking one of the girls about Jay. Benny immediately calls his brother, but the call goes straight to voicemail. He then checks one of the bags the girls left behind and finds it packed with money. As he goes through the money, a splash of blood hits his face. He digs deeper into the bag only to find it soaked with blood. At the same time, a police car's siren is heard from behind. Benny leaves the car as the police officer inspects all the parked vehicles. He makes a run for the door, but the police officer sees him. He ends up in the hotel's lobby. A rude and condescending receptionist stops him, and just as she is about to call security, she spots the red gem that Benny found earlier and immediately changes her tone and apologizes. He tells her he is here to meet Blair and Zoe. The receptionist then escorts him to the elevator. Benny approaches a dimly lit room and opens the door, only to find Blair and Moreau suckling the juice from some very fortunate guys. Zoe lunges at Benny, but is shocked when he reveals that he is not Jay, but his brother. One of the tied-up guys wakes up in a daze and is shocked when he learns that his friend on the opposite side of him is dead. He warns the girls that they are protected and that they will come after them if they do this. Zoe doesn't seem to care much as she laughs at his threats. She tells Blair to finish her drink. While the girls are busy finishing him off, Benny makes a run for it and escapes. As he makes it back to the parking lot, he sees the police officer from earlier and tells him what happened, but the officer doesn't believe him and arrests him. Benny is relieved and tells him to get him out of here, but the officer opens his trunk instead and reveals a body bag. He tells Benny that what happens upstairs, stays upstairs. Zoe and Blair come out and explain that Benny doesn't know what he saw and that they just gave the best suck those guys will ever get. We cut to Victor, who pours himself an exotic blood drink. He walks through a corridor full of people being drained of their blood inside glass panels. He leaves and goes to another house where we meet Eva, who asks him what he is doing here. He replies that he is having a drink with his bosses. We then see what we all came here to see, Booba Fox, Grace, having a nice blood cocktail and telling Victor that he crossed the line by entering Boyle Heights. Eva tries to distract Victor and tells him that he is middle management and that he should know his place. Victor doesn't pay the girls any attention and leaves, walking to the balcony. Victor explains that the rules of treating humans as equals and being told who they are allowed to feed on feels more like a prison sentence than anything else. Grace explains that if they get exposed, all the wealth and fancy clothes they are wearing will disappear. She then tells him that coming here and apologizing will not reverse the ban. Victor just smiles and calmly tells them that they misunderstood him. He came to inform them that he is picking apart all their network as they speak. Eva calls for security, but Victor just laughs and tells her that she will need to speak a little louder as he holds the guard's ear in his hand. Back with Benny, Blair explains that his brother, Jay, runs Boyle Heights and that he knows how to kill her kind. She tells him that her people control the city and that they answer only to 5 vampire bosses in LA. She says that Victor, her and Zoe decided to make a move tonight and gain real power by taking out the other bosses. They planned to use Jay against the other bosses, but instead ended up with Benny, which ruined their plans. Zoe makes a call to Victor informing him about the swapped brothers situation. Victor, as calm as ever, says it's no problem and that they plan to use him as leverage. We cut to Jay and his gang, who approach the same mansion that Benny was at earlier. They enter the house only to find everyone massacred. They approach the pool area and meet Gio, the vampire boss who turned Victor, and the only one who knows his exact location. Gio informs them of Victor's plans and tells them to give him some blood, but they shoot him down instead. We now follow Benny, who is getting a red slushie. Zoe approaches him and tells him that Blair really likes him. She then hears the clerk using the phone and immediately goes to him and threatens him to tell her who was on the phone. The scared clerk says it was his mom asking him to pick up cat food on the way home. The group leaves for their next destination. As they exit the car, Blair warns Benny not to do anything stupid and tell anyone about them or she will have to kill him. The couple from the start of the movie recognize Benny, and the girl asks him if he can help them skip the line. The arrogant boyfriend scoffs at Benny and says he looks like a butler. The crowd bursts into laughter. Blair unexpectedly approaches Benny and gives him a nice, juicy kiss. The crowd's laughter dies down immediately. Blair tells the bouncer to send the Zoomers at the front all the way to the back of the line. Benny, Zoe and Blair enter the club and go to the second floor where they prepare to take out another one of the bosses, Big Lou. We see Jay's gang enter the same club from the back alley. As the girls make it to Big Lou's office, they see someone else instead, who tells them Big Lou is not around anymore. Blair says she doesn't like this and tells Zoe they should leave. The man approaches the girls and tells Zoe he was the one who gave her the scar. He applauds the girls for their courage for doing this on their own, but tells them that once they break the rules, it's open season for them. A group of men come out and surround the girls with crossbows. As the man orders the group to kill them, Benny slams a bottle of champagne on his head, which gives the girls an opening to attack. Benny asks who still uses crossbows and Blair tells him that Night Legion does. They are the ones that hunted them down for centuries. Zoe laughs and says that Benny just bottles them in the face. As the girls and Benny leave, Jay spots them coming down the stairs. Jay calls for his brother, but before he can make it to him, he is blocked by an emo vampire. The beta vampire refuses to move and Jay, as the Sigma he is, obliterates him with his sacred knife. As the girls and Benny make it to the car, they are ambushed by more Night Legion hunters. They seem to have stormtrooper aim as Zoe comes out of the window yelling at them to shoot her, but they somehow miss every shot point blank. Jay meets with a few Night Legion people in a back alley who tell him he can't win on his own. Jay tells them he just wants Victor. The girl scoffs and tells him if he survives the night to come and find her. Benny takes the girls back to his house and warns them to keep quiet to not alert his grandma. As Benny moves down the hallway, his grandma swings at him with a baseball bat. We have an awkward conversation where Benny introduces the girls to his grandma. She treats him like a kid in front of the girls, embarrassing him further. The cop from earlier pulls Jay over and informs him where Victor wants to meet. He also tells him that Benny says hi. Zoe calls Victor and informs him of the situation, and that the Night Legion found them. Benny takes some of his brother's weapons. He goes back to his room to find Blair looking around and inspecting his waifu and anime figurines. He lies and says that they are all leftovers from his childhood. She compliments his music making and his driving skills. Benny gets awfully close to a snoo, but Zoe comes in and cock blocks him. Thanks Zoe, really. Jay makes it to the spot where he is supposed to meet Victor. Jay pleads with Victor to let go of Maria and Benny, who are innocent and have nothing to do with any of this. Victor refuses and says that nobody will walk away. Jay shoots Victor in the head and tries to stab him, but is stopped as Victor regenerates the gunshot fully. Victor asks Jay if he wants some, saying he saved some of her for him. Jay is in disbelief as Victor implies that he cooked Maria and served her as a steak. Benny and the girls make it to the last boss location and the last kill. They meet with Rocco, who lets them in. Zoe tells Blair and Benny to leave the room to the adults. Benny opens up to Blair about how his half-brother Jay was like a father figure to him growing up. They start making out after Blair confirms she doesn't plan on killing Benny. Zoe prepares to stab Rocco, but he already knows their plans and multiple people enter the bar from behind. After the brawl starts, Blair joins Zoe and tells Benny to get the car ready. As the girls make their getaway, they are ambushed by the Night Legion, but Benny decides to save them instead of running away. Another fight starts as more vampires come out. Benny and the girls manage to escape, but we see that Zoe was hit by one of the arrows of the Night Legion and is slowly dying. They make it to the last stop, Victor's house, but not before Blair tells Benny to leave immediately as he will get killed if he sets foot in that house. Benny decides to be a man and goes back into the house. As he enters the house, he spots his brother chained up and being used for blood transfer. As he attempts to break the glass, he is stopped instantly by Victor. When Victor brings Benny to the girls, we see Zoe healed because she had fresh blood. He explains to Benny that when he first came here he had to get used to the blood, but now he can't get enough. We see Benny pull out a knife and try to stab Victor when he gets close, but gets instantly blocked. Blair tries to defend Benny and tells them to stop as Benny saved their lives, but Victor scoffs and tells her that he will just make it quicker then. Blair says she wants out, but Zoe tells her she is nothing and that she is the one who made Blair a vampire, so she can't leave. The Sigma male has had enough and puts the knife in Zoe's hand, forcing her to stab Blair. He then goes to Benny and blames him for what happened. Benny then takes out his car remote and triggers the car to drive forward, breaking through the wall and letting sunlight in, instantly evaporating Zoe. Victor baits Benny by bringing his brother and making him step into the darkness, which he does, and gets instantly bitten. Blair stabs Victor repeatedly in the back, but he slaps her and turns his attention back to Benny. But before he can finish him off, Jay runs and pushes him towards the light. Unfortunately, Victor's Sigma powers weren't enough to defend him against the exposure to light. Blair rushes to Benny, who has lost a lot of blood from his neck, and the only way to save him, you probably already guessed it, is to turn him into a vampire as well. She bites down on her wrist and he suckles down willingly. Sometime later, we see Benny waking up in his bed, alive and well, but turned into a vampire as the sunlight burns him. Jay attends a memorial for Maria. Jay and Benny reunite for dinner and Jay jokingly says that he warned him not to scratch the car, but thanks him for all he did. Benny says that he would have done the same. Benny leaves and tells his brother that he left him something. Jay opens the bag to find the blood money the girls had earlier is all still there. The rude classmates from earlier in the movie run into Benny again and ask him where he's been, but their conversation is cut short as Blair arrives in her sports car and tells Benny to get in, as they are running late. He puts sunglasses on, now embracing his true nature as a Sigma male, and asks his classmates if they want a ride. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notification bell if you want to watch more videos like this. Thanks and see you again soon.